You are listening to the pilot episode of the Insurance Podcast.
Out here, nothing changes, not in a hurry anyway.
We're going to have to do something about that intro. It's lame. Everybody, welcome to the very first pilot episode of the Insurance Podcast. It's a brand new idea for me. I've been working on it for about 12 months. What I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about primarily the general insurance industry. I want to talk about market changes and conditions, insurers and underwriter ratings, examples, claim scenarios, their turnaround times, industry developments, the premiums and their costs, insurance responsiveness, how well they're performing, and any new insurance products. I'm going to be doing this via meetings, whether it's with business or personal clients of my own, and perhaps other insurance representatives like underwriters, their claims experts, and other industry experts that are related to the insurance industry, whether it be financial or general or whatever it may be. My plan is to create free content based on my own experiences and other experiences. The content, I would like it to be unboring and unapologetically honest. There's a lot of podcasts out there for the financial industry, not necessarily in Australia, but overseas. I've listened to, I think, a healthy portion of them. Some of them are bleedingly boring. I don't want this one to be like that. So it's going to be hopefully fun, bit of a giggle, bit of a laugh, a bit stupid, and totally casual. So the idea is with this podcast is it's not for me, it's for anybody that wants to listen to it. That can be, people in the industry or direct general public, anybody that wants, some sort of gratis insight into the insurance industry, how it evolves from an insurance broker's perspective, and perhaps other insurers' perspectives as well. It's, like I said, it's not about me. However, I think it's prudent to anyone listening that I'd introduce myself, talk about my industry experience briefly. I won't drag on too long about it. My name is Brad Dawson. I started in the insurance industry back in 2007. I was invited into the industry. Many people have different stories, I guess, of how they started. Nobody plans, or at least a small portion of people plan to go into the insurance industry. I certainly wasn't planning on it. However, I've grown to love it. I was invited into the industry by a long-term mate of mine, Lindsay Collitz is his name. I was introduced through him into a support type role, and the business he was currently running at the time was Elders Insurance. He was the Greenfield agent for the entire Coffs Coast on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. I was in a sales support sort of role for him as I learnt the industry, the lingo, all that sort of stuff over 10 years ago now, so it's like 12 years ago. We stayed in that sort of position until August 08, where he and I joined an AR network. The network was based out of North Sydney. We were still staying on the mid-north coast, Coffs Harbour. After toing and froing whilst I was working there, sort of from the areas of Coffs Harbour and a little north of that too, sort of all the way down south towards Gosford, I was doing anywhere between 4,000 and 8,000 kilometres every month. Embarrassingly, I was living in my car at the time, and just sort of showering wherever I could at certain, friends' houses along the way, kind friends. I found it was both character building and especially challenging. On more than one occasion, I recall being awoken to sleep in the back of my car with someone trying to put their arm through the window to break in and steal the car, and surprising them when I woke up. It happened on more than one occasion. Shortly after that happened, I joined the gym and tried to source some self-defense skills because that can be a bit scary at times. But fortunately, that only lasted probably about 6 months. I built the business up to a point where I could afford to at least lease a property. I based myself in Newcastle, living out of Hamilton, and opened up an office in Charlestown. After learning the ropes for probably 12 months or so, I was invited up to the sunny Gold Coast by the MD of the network I was with at the time. I later discovered that relocation was arranged to sort of shape me into some sort of contingency plan for a retiring Gold Coast broker who needed a plan for retirement, needed some sort of contingency plan. Sometime later, I ended up purchasing a portion of that business and completely relocated everything that I had to Broadbeach, and that was my home, the office there, until about mid-2015. Some mistakes were made on my behalf, and others later, at which I was forced to leave the AR network, and then joined my current group, which is PSC Connect. And shortly after that, I was able to brand it with my own company, Dawson Insurance. And then over the next 12 to 18 months, I was sort of up and down with clients. I bled a number of clients, quite a portion of them, to my previous office. I was forced to take a different approach to my business. I then sort of focused my energy towards new business and a networking angle. That's been the direction of myself and my business since then. Everything running smoothly now. I have time to think about some of the other options that are available, and prompted me to bring about, I wanted to give something back to the industry. How much I have to offer, I'm not sure. 12 years in the industry must be something, I guess. So I thought that I can learn along the way and hopefully give some sort of other people some information about myself or the industry. That's where this podcast idea came in. I thought that if I could release something to the market on a more regular basis, it might help direct individuals, it might help someone that needs insurance, it might help someone that needs questions about insurance answered, it might assist or give anybody any information that are in the industry that want to learn something that we might discuss on this podcast. So I've noticed, like I said earlier, there's some other ones US based, but I think I needed one from an Aussie perspective with a direct link to the Aussie market. So yeah, briefly, that's my story up until the industry now. I've managed my own business for a number of years now, based out of Tweed Heads, and the idea is I'd like to create some content here every week with myself. I've got a number of industry experts that are prepared and have organised. We've already recorded some of these podcasts, in fact, but I just needed to have some sort of launch-off point. There's a lot of backwards and forwards, and it's hard to know when to release and what's the right time and is it perfect. But I needed to just jump in the deep end and release a sort of bit of a pilot intro about myself, the idea of the podcast, and the content we're going to create over the next however long this lasts. I'd like it to be an ongoing thing. If people are interested, if people start watching it and people watch it, then we'll keep creating it. So for any questions, if you'd like to be featured on the podcast, our email address is theinsurancepodcast@outlook.com. theinsurancepodcast@outlook.com. You can refer to myself or any way of contacting me via my website, which is www.dawsonins.com.au, or you can email me just at theinsurancepodcast@outlook.com. Any questions, flick me an email, and if I don't hear from you, you'll obviously get the next podcast when it comes out the next week. Thanks so much to everybody. Thanks for watching. Look forward to it. Cheers.